Subject today is CPE, the role of CPE on campus at SUNYIT. And the reason I wanted to do this is because I find a lot of people on campus who really don't know the full extent of what CPE does. They know some things, but they don't really know the full extent. And also CPE is very different here than it is at most universities and most colleges. Much broader. Most colleges are very defined, and it's basically adult education, and that's the end of it. And normally night courses for adult education. That's what you see at most colleges. But we're kind of unique here. We're very privileged to have a broader scale. So I just wanted to kind of make people aware of that. I think I know everyone here, so I'm not going to introduce myself. Okay, first question, what is CPE? No, it's not a trick question. I know that, continuing professional education, right? Okay. And to a lot of other folks, a very simple answer to that question is, it's basically the non-academic credit activities at SUNYIT. We have the academic side of the school, where people are getting college credit for the courses they're taking, and then we have everything else. And everything else is what really CPE is all about. And it really kind of presents a problem for us sometimes because it truly is everything else. So whenever something new needs to be done, well, let's give it the CPE. Because it's not academic, so let's give it the CPE. And that's kind of what happens, right, Kate?
Yes.
That's exactly what happens, and Kate knows that. Because
CPE stands for Can't Please Everyone.
But we try. But we do try, okay? Okay, so let's take a little bit of look at what CPE is here at SUNYIT. And I'm just going to go around the circle here and put some things up, and then we'll explain each of those in a little bit more detail. Anytime you want to ask a question, please interrupt. This is very informal, so please ask a question. Okay, we'll answer the questions as we go. We don't have to wait till the end, but we'll just answer the questions as we go. So, okay, first term is K-12 outreach. Okay, and we'll talk a little bit more specifically of what that's about. We also have leadership Mohawk Valley. Okay. We also have the Small Business Development Center. SBDC is here on campus and part of CPE. MVILR. Okay. Mohawk Valley Institute for Living in Retirement. And there's probably a lot of folks that don't know that that's here on campus, I suspect, because it's kind of over there in the campus center, so it's kind of like, wow. Institute for Local Government. Oh, there's one. Did we know that? Did we know that we have an Institute for Local Government and that it runs out of CPE on this campus? Oh, we learned something, right? We didn't know that. Okay. And then we have continuing professional development. Now what we're going to find as we explore all these things in a circle, continuing professional development is the everything else. Okay. And anything new that gets added, it gets stuck into that particular box. Okay, so let's go through these kind of one by one. And we'll start with K-12 outreach. The folks who work on that, of course, everybody knows Elizabeth. She's just known to everyone. So we've got Elizabeth, and then Amber Bay, who is our program assistant for K-12 outreach. Now, the most visible things you see with K-12 outreach, and this is basically what we do with the school systems. Okay, going from kind of like middle school up through high school. And these are some of the activities we do with them. And some of the events that you see that are very visible on campus is we have a engineering and pre-engineering showcase. This usually happens about March, okay? Sometimes the middle of March. And all the high schools, we go up to the field house, and all the high schools come in and they display things, and there's some competition going on. And it's all related to STEM. Science, the science stuff, the technology, the engineering, the math, all that stuff. So it's all STEM stuff, and it's really a big event. And if you haven't had a chance to see that in action, I would urge you to, take a look, watch for that in March, and take a look at. It's amazing what these kids are doing at the middle school and the high school level, and the pre-engineering level. And of course, we have the Summer I-Teens, which is our camps. And so when the school is kind of not doing a lot of activity in the summertime, we've got all these young folks running around doing various camps. They're becoming more varied. We kind of think of camps and we think of the robotics because the majority of them are robotics still. But we do some other things. This year, which is really great, we had a National Summer Transportation Institute. And this was funded by the National Transportation people. And we had 19 high school folks from all around the area, representing schools from all around the area. And we looked at various forms of transportation. And this was like a 2-week program. So we went and looked at stuff related to land transportation and went on trains and stuff. We went to stuff with water, and we went to the locks and those kind of things. We did air. We went out to the air base. And we got to see, which almost nobody does. They allowed us to go in and see the command center. This is like the Eastern Command Center for NORAD. And they allowed us to go right in and explain to what they were doing in terms of protection of the country, the airspace in the country. So that was really a great opportunity that very, very few people get to do. So they spent 2 weeks doing that, and they got a little stipend. The kids got paid, believe it or not. So as part of this grant, they got like $160, wasn't much, but $160, so they learned something, had a lot of fun. This got rave reviews, and we even did rocketry. We were out in the front yard shooting off rockets. And so we did a lot of different stuff. And really, the kids loved it. The ratings on that were just absolutely wonderful. We're hoping that can become an annual thing, because that was really, really great. And then for the first time, we also had a nanotechnology camp. And again, that idea obviously is to get kids at a fairly young age thinking about nanotechnology, since we now know we are Nano Utica, okay, and we are the hub in the Mohawk Valley for nanotechnology, and so we want to get kids thinking about that at a very early age and preparing for that. And then, of course, the first Lego League stuff, and have the final competition there. I think it's the 6th or 7th of, I think it's the 6th. Actually, it's going to be a 2-day this year, but the big one is on the 6th. So if you haven't been to that, it's a Saturday. If you haven't been to that, that's a tremendous opportunity too. We just take over the entire field house, and you got kids and robots everywhere. And it's just absolutely amazing. The energy is amazing. If you haven't been to that event, another great event. So these are just some things. And there's other stuff that happen too. But these are some things that Elizabeth and Amber do with the K-12 outreach. And they touch about 1,000 people annually. Okay. Teachers, students, about 1,000 folks get touched. So this is a really important program to us. And it's really important to the college because this is where future students are going to come from. Get them interested now in STEM at a very early age, and get them on campus, see what's going on here on campus, and it's going to be a very natural transition from that for them to move, when they graduate high school. The only place they're going to look at is SUNYIT, because that's what they've grown up with and that's what they know. Now, Elizabeth's very clever. Okay. See this little commercial she put at the bottom of the slide that she gave me? She's shameless in recruiting people. So anybody who wants to help out and be a volunteer, here. I didn't notice this until just a little while ago. My goodness, he's put a commercial on the slide. But that's okay. That's okay. All right. So that's K-12 outreach. Any questions about that? It's kind of a signature program of CPE and SUNYIT, and kind of what we're known for in the area. So it's great. Yeah.
Actually, one question. For the professional development for educators, how can one, will you contact Elizabeth to propose? I've had an idea for some, I don't know how I'd tell whether teachers would be interested in it.
Okay. Yeah, Elizabeth would be somebody to start working through.
Yeah.
Absolutely. In the past, what we've done is we've actually gotten grants. We've gotten grants to educate teachers, do professional development for teachers, and summer programs. We had like a 3-year with Utica, and through the city schools, and so a lot of that happens through grants. But certainly bounce some ideas off Elizabeth. She'd be happy to talk to you about those things.
Well, we also are involved in the Mohawk Valley STEM Hub, and that's another way to kind of vet these ideas for professional development, because we're meeting periodically with educators from
That's
the
a good
whole
idea.
region.
Yeah. And so either Elizabeth or Kate, I don't know if you know Kate Elcott. But yeah, either Kate or Elizabeth, and they can take them to the STEM Hub people, because that's BOCES people, and BOCES kind of controls the teacher professional development.
It's a thought, I don't know if the need is there or the interest might be there, so, okay.
But it's worth putting it out there. I think any idea is welcome.
And this is a new group. I mean, STEM Hub just kicked off, so it's a brand new group.
Exactly, and that's the whole point of it.
And one point I wanted to make is that we had, out of our Lego stuff and the robotics, we had a team from New Hartford go to the World Championships in St. Louis. And they qualified here and moved on to the World Championships in St. Louis. So it's a great opportunity. Mason?
I just want to understand what you said.
Yeah.
Did I just hear you say that BOCES is responsible for the STEM?
No. There's a STEM Hub, which these are kind of, they follow the regional economic development groups, the regions around the state. And each of them has what's called a STEM Hub. And typically what this is a group that's been formed for educators to lead STEM education and to get involved in STEM education. And BOCES is kind of, because BOCES has the context with the superintendents, and they do the teacher development, so it's really important to have BOCES in the loop on that. So that's how they're related. They're not responsible for it, but they're a very important influence of it. I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
Yeah, I think Howard Mettleman has really kind of taken the lead on the STEM Hub in terms of coordination. I mean, he
Who carries
hosted
out the
them.
instructions?
Pardon me?
Who carries out the actual instructions for STEM? Who does the STEM?
Well, obviously,
Everybody who's involved in the hub. I mean, all the educators that are
I'm
involved in the
asking,
hub
who are
take
the
this.
educated? This is to educate educators, right?
There's,
And I'm asking, who does the education of the educators?
middle school teachers, high school teachers,
no, they brought in outside.
and there are outside people too. But the whole idea is encouraging STEM education in the school system. That's the whole idea of STEM. Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Basically, what I hear you asking is who's instructing the instructors or teaching the teachers.
Who's
And
teaching?
very often it's been SUNYIT faculty.
Yes.
I did workshops with high school teachers over the years.
Yep.
Okay.
It can be SUNYIT faculty, can bring in some outside folks.
We have brought in outside.
There's outside folks that we can bring in, sure.
One thing you want to temper your enthusiasm a little bit with in this sort of environment is I found that teachers are very receptive to things that will be very direct into the classroom. But if you feel like, hey, practical mathematics is wonderful and interesting, shouldn't everybody just love to learn about this? You're not going to get the kind of response. But
Yes.
if you can tie it to the Common Core, you're probably
variety.
going to get a response.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
Good point. Absolutely good point. Okay. So good. Very visible program, very important program. That's very important to the future, the economic future here in the Mohawk Valley, as well as the fortunes of SUNYIT. Because not that other forms of curriculum or whatever aren't important, but STEM is really kind of where it's at, and it's really getting a lot of attention. Not just here, but nationwide. Doesn't discount other things, but STEM is. And now there's also a little bit. We haven't talked about it here much, but there's also now the tendency, kind of nationwide, to put an A in there and make it STEAM. And the A is arts. Yeah, there you go, Kristen.
Yeah.
She said, yeah, let's do that. Okay, so there's also a desire to do that. Okay, great. Okay, Leadership Mohawk Valley. We have the face of Leadership Mohawk Valley here. You like to let everybody know you're here. Okay. Ann Rushlow, if you don't know Ann. She's all about Leadership Mohawk Valley. Amber Bay is her program assistant. So do we have two Amber Bays? No, we don't. We split her in half. And Elizabeth then takes one arm, and Ann takes the other arm, and they kind of pull. So Amber supports both. She supports those as a program assistant. Does a great job. Does an absolutely wonderful job. So, you want to talk about Leadership Mohawk Valley at all?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. We are, as you can see by the screen, we are a 24-year-old organization, much like many organizations throughout the country, that educate leaders. We do leadership development, but it's also about developing leaders specific to the communities in which you reside. So there's a lot of community awareness and engagement activities that we do. We have a program day. It's a 10-month program. We have a program day each month that's specific to a different sector of the community, be it government or healthcare or education. And we bring in all of the experts in that field on that day to meet with the class and share with them sort of what's going on in that field in the Mohawk Valley. There's a cohort, in recent years there's been a cohort of about 40 leaders from all different companies, government agencies, nonprofits, and we are in our 7th year of this management contract where SUNYIT has actually had this contract with Leadership Mohawk Valley to employ the executive director. So I work here at SUNYIT in CPE as the executive director for Leadership Mohawk Valley, and that we're in our 7th year, and that arrangement has worked really well. And we have 38 in this year's class, and prior to this year we had 800 individuals that have graduated from our program, and some of the names are pretty big names you'll recognize from the community that are serving on all kinds of boards of directors and executive directors in their own organizations even.
I see it all the time when I'm looking at resumes, and it's like every 3rd or 4th resume it has Leadership Mohawk Valley year whatever. You know, it's just a wonderful program, and it really has a very large group of alums who really are in very high leadership positions in the Mohawk Valley. And Kate and Sim Cummington are in this year's class, so they're partway through the program. I hated to give up Kate's time. I still hate to give up Kate's time.
I know.
But what are you
It's
going
worth
to do?
every minute of it.
What are you going to do? Okay. Now this arrangement that we have, where it's an independent organization, but it contracts with SUNY IT for services and resides within CPE. A couple more. We're going to talk about a couple more organizations that are kind of the same way, operate the same way. Okay. Small Business Development Center, and we have Roxanne, who is the acting director. She's here today, and they do some exciting stuff. And sometimes people don't even realize they're on campus. They don't even realize the Small Business Development Center is here. People who are on campus don't realize that it's here. So it's a great privilege to have them here, and obviously, their mission is to help small businesses. And these days, the definition of small businesses gets to be quite large businesses, actually. So, when you think of a small business, we're a little bigger than that in terms of that. But it's been here since 1986. It's been in the Mohawk Valley, and 12,000 businesses have been impacted in that period of time. Look at this economic impact. $206 million of economic impact. Isn't that wonderful? Okay? And it's created or saved, 6,700 jobs. And here's a list of things that the SBDC can do. I included a couple of pictures here, and I'm going to point to the picture. I'm going to have Roxanne, you tell me what the picture is, okay? Okay, this one.
This is a client who actually received 2 very, very high honors. The first was the New York State SBDC organization honored them with 2013 Manufacturer of the Year this past year. And there's very few companies that get honored in such a way. And this past May they received that recognition, and a fabulous client. I'm not sure if we have a release. I think it's probably, I can publicize it because it is public. We operate under strict confidentiality, but if we get a release from the client, we can give you their name. And in both of the cases here, I'm sure we have releases on file. The one that Marv just pointed to is Noble Wood Shavings. This was a startup company that we started working with from idea and concept through to development of the company and actual startup and operation. And now they are still working with us because they're going to go to an even higher level and are looking to put together a financial package for an expansion plan. So these are two gentlemen who are partners, true entrepreneurs, and they are one of our, like I said, one of our stellar clients.
And then located in Sherrill, right?
Yes.
The old Oneida complex is now Sherrill Manufacturing.
They identified a need within the equine, if I'm saying that right, industry for, and their business is totally green. They take wood shavings that go through a cleansing process where there's no dust or other contaminants, and it's very, very highly regarded within that industry. Actually, Marv, did you say your wife may possibly use the product?
Yeah, for her horse.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, and then this one?
The dairy farmers use it too.
Okay, there you
The
go.
ones I know.
Very good, yeah.
Yeah.
The other picture?
The other picture is, that's our advisor, Dave Lerman, there on the left. And he is, right next to him is another client that just a little over a month ago received a great honor and award. They won the Mohawk Valley Edge business plan competition. And these are two people that, again, have an idea. They targeted a product and a business idea that they are looking to develop, and worked with our advisor Dave to come up with the business plan, projections, market research, etc. And they were we actually had 3 finalists. The 3 top finalists for this competition were all 3 were our clients, so we were very honored to be able to say that. And this particular client happened to win. They won a was it $20,000 cash award plus low interest loan, guarantee of a low interest loan. And Dave's putting together a very sophisticated financial package because not only are they going for a loan, they're also packaging that with a grant that's been tentatively they're in the running for a grant from the state. So they would open a business where they make these very nice barrels that are made out of, is it oak, Marv?
Yeah, I believe it's oak. Well, it's not just oak, but a certain type of white oak.
Yeah.
But it's very specific.
Exactly. Used by microbreweries and wineries, and they would be, once they get off the ground, which they're working on right now, the only outlet for this product in this part of the country. The other one is out west.
I think northwest or someplace.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they did their research. They would definitely have a market, and they're just very, very excited, and they're going to hear more about this. Adirondack Barrel Cooperage, I think is the name.
Yeah.
And anybody heard of them?
I have, because I know Steve Cox.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, you'll hear more about that.
It was nice to go to the awards dinner knowing that this SBDC was going to win because they had all 3 finalists. So there wasn't much chance that they weren't going to win. And this is how many years it's a number of years in a row that an SBDC client has won this.
6 out of the last 7 years, one of our clients has been the winner.
That's a great advertisement for the work that the SBDC does, the local SBDC does here. And
Is that a statewide competition?
no,
Regional.
Mohawk
the
Valley.
Mohawk Valley. Yeah. And to me, the numbers are amazing on an annual basis. I mean, they serve about 350 clients annually. Can you imagine that? 350 clients with, 3 or 4 advisors. So each advisor has 70, 80, 90 clients. Isn't that amazing? And they're able to do that. And it's just wonderful. And it's like $15 million in economic impact per year. And then they put on 45, 50 training courses per year for small businesses. So it's a great resources. And what's the best part? It's free. The business doesn't have to pay anything for it. So I'm just amazed more people don't use the service. So, okay, great. So it's a great resource to have here on campus.
Mark, where does the funding for the program come from?
It's a combination of both federal and state funding. Federal through the Small Business Administration, state through the state. And also, we always recognize the SUNYIT's contribution as well. They provide us with our office space and many different in-kind services that they offer. So we totally appreciate SUNYIT's helping us.
Another great partnership, an example of an independent organization that has chosen to be here on campus and to contract for our services.
And most of the SBDCs are in the state are on SUNY campuses. It's a real, SUNY love fest there, so it's great.
And MVILR. And we have Ann and we have Kim today from this organization. And as I was saying earlier, sometimes I think that people don't even realize this organization's on campus because it's over in it's over in Campus Center, second floor of Campus Center, and folks come and go over there. Although they do have classes in other places, we see them sometimes in the computer room across from CPE, but they're not terribly visible on campus, so we don't always.
Very visible.
What's that?
They're very visible in Donovan. The MVILR students are very visible in Donovan.
Oh, in Donovan, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And we intend to become more so.
Okay. All right, so this is an organization, and how long has this organization been around?
We are in our 17th year.
17th year.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
And it was born here on the SUNY IT campus from an idea that a few people had, and they approached then President Kane and said, people nearing or in retirement age need something to remain active, and it's grown larger and larger since then. Dr. Mason Somerville is one of our facilitators. It's a great program. I don't know how much you want me to go.
So this is grassroots. It started with a few people with an idea, right? And it's been amazing. Now you're up to 400, sometimes closer to 500 members annual members, which is pretty amazing. And the whole concept is based on peer education and training. That members of the group facilitate within their areas of expertise. What's fascinating to me is you never know what you're going to get, right? Because somebody has expertise in a certain area, so they'll decide to do a course in that area. So it's all over the place. If you look at their catalog, and I would urge you to pick up one of their catalogs, it's just wonderful and it's just amazing the breadth and depth of stuff that they do. And it's really nice to see these folks on campus. And then you'll see even when they're not having class, right? They'll be over there playing card games or quilting or whatever. So it's a social outlet also. It's not just the classes, but it's also a social outlet for the folks who have become friends with each other. And it's just it's an amazing organization. So you run what, 3 semesters per year? Is that what you do? Okay.
We actually are a year-round organization,
Right.
so those ladies up there, or there may be some gentlemen in there, the folks playing Mahjong are there 52 weeks a year, and so our offices are open all year, but we are in our fall semester right now, and then January to February we do a 4-week winter term.
Okay.
And then late March to May we do a spring semester.
And what are you doing? How many courses are you doing this semester?
68 different
Really?
offerings. Some
Okay.
of them
Wow.
one-time lectures that we have over in Kinsella Hall.
Wow.
Civil War, oh gosh,
There's so many. It's just
Yeah.
it's amazing.
Plus,
Like
they
that
fund
kind of-
students.
Yes, absolutely.
They're really great students. If we could have our SUNYIT students good as these guys are, we'd be in great shape.
Yeah.
And we do not, lots of people ask if you have to be retired to belong, or a certain age, and we do not have an age requirement. You can be a member if you can take advantage of our offerings during, able to do that, but our age range, though we are all boomers and beyond is what I like to call us, because I'm a boomer and I belong in this place. But we have folks we have a facilitator this semester who is 90, facilitating a class. And we have, in one of our other classes, we have, or a full schedule, I think she's 92 or 93. So within our population, we have a very wide array of ages. We have a lot of fun. So come check us out. If you're up there eating in the dining hall,
Go upstairs.
stop in and see
Right
us.
up there, yeah. That's great. So, what I like about it is that we fit people's education needs all the way from middle schoolers. We start with the middle schoolers. You know, we bring them in for the
Elementary.
robotics and whatever.
Elementary.
And even some elementary kids, okay? And then we continue right up through people's adult years, and we do, you know, programs for adult learning and whatever, and right through to retirement years. So we've got people here on campus that encompass, you know, several generations. And so it's really wonderful to see that happen. It's great. Okay. Same arrangement, independent organization that contracts us for space services, you know, that kind of stuff. So, yeah. And it's been a great partnership. Another great partnership. And by the way, I mean the vision for doing these kinds of things is Deb Tazinski. She is the vision of having this kind of thing, expanding the scope of CPE. Because most colleges, what you see CPE do is they're doing night classes for adults. That's basically what they're doing. And here it's much, much broader, and that is just a tribute to Deb's vision to bring these organizations into CPE. Okay. Now here's one that's probably little known, you know, outside the CPE folks. And this is the Institute for Local Government. Okay. And there's a couple of different pieces to that. There's something called digital towpath. And digital towpath is basically providing local governments with e-solutions. So websites, software they can use to have their website, they can use for email communication, they can manage their public records. And it's a membership organization. So local governments, this may be at the village level, the town level, even probably county level. And they pay a membership fee. It's a very inexpensive. It's very inexpensive. I don't know what the fee this year will be, the exact fee. It probably depends a little bit on services. In the neighborhood, $600-700, something like that. And you get all your solutions. And it's amazing. It's an amazing product for them. And it's about 200 local governments right now that are taking advantage of this and using digital towpath. So it's a very creative. It was first, 10 years ago or more. It was proposed and got some early grant funding to help with it, and it's really really grown. But it's not very visible. And Gene and Joe aren't on campus. They're off campus for the most part, so we don't see them very often. So it's one of those things that kind of operates out there someplace, literally in the cloud. But it's a great. And they just won a big award. I know you can't see the detail of the award here, but they won a big award. And this was, New York State does what they call Best of New York State Awards. And this was just about a month ago that they did this, or less. And they won the award for Best IT Collaboration among organizations. And this award is given by the Center for Digital Government. So that was a very huge award that they have just won. Okay. So that's the digital towpath part of things. And then there also is a local government education committee And this serves Herkimer and Oneida counties, although it's not limited to that. And you get participants from a lot of other places who kind of come to this also. This is made up of volunteers from local governments, and they host workshops for local officials on a wide range of issues. And I know at their annual, which is coming up, I think it's like October 25th, they're having their annual meeting here, and they get a lot of people. And some of their meetings they do throughout the year, you know, they can get big groups that kind of fill the auditorium at times. So this is great. This is providing resources, local government, members of local government, providing resources for their peers in terms of training and whatever. And it's just really great for the really small towns, really small villages. They don't have the resources. They don't have the resources to go to expensive training and whatever. So this is really great for them. Okay. How many people didn't know? But this. How many people this is new to? Anybody this is new to? Okay. You don't get around, Kate, do you? Okay. Okay. Then, as I said, continuing professional development, which is everything else, and we'll talk about what a few of those things are. That would basically function here, myself, Kate Elcott, and Jackie. Yes, this is the same Kate Elcott that was listed as a business advisor for Small Business Development Center. We're trying to transition her from there to working full-time in professional development, and it's been a long, difficult journey. But it's going to happen. And so right now she's doing 2 jobs, and we thank her for that. But we will get it down to 1.5 at least. So, corporate outreach, and I'll give you some more details on each of these bullet points. Corporate outreach, special sessions, non-matriculated students, special initiatives and events, and academic support. And I really should put another bullet that just says other, because whatever comes along, it's not it's not surprising that Bill Durgan will walk down the hall one day, or Wolf used to, and Bob Gear will, and say, "Hey, I got an idea." And that usually means something for CPE to do. So that's great. We love it. Okay, so corporate outreach. And this is what the typical CPE does in a typical university, typical college. And out to the business community, what kind of training, what kind of education can we do for you? We can either contract and do it at your facility, or we can do it as a public course, and anybody who wants to come can come. So we do some of that. We're working on some stuff now. A management certificate program for fairly entry-level supervisory management personnel. A Lean Six Sigma certificate program. Those are the things we're working on now. I forgot my closed parenthesis here. Spell check didn't find that one. Okay. So, very typical CPE. Special sessions. We coordinate summer IT, the summer academic credit programs here at SUNY IT. And I just want to make a note that and this is a tribute to faculty and to everybody who was involved in offering the courses. But this year we set a record with summer enrollment. Our previous record was 744 students enrolled for summer. This year we're 784. So by 5%, we broke the old record for, and that's great. And that's really wonderful. It's a real service to our students that allows them to catch up on courses, get ahead, graduate sooner, or stay on track. So having the summer courses are great for them. Okay. We've also been talking about the possibility of doing winter session, a very short winter session. We haven't gotten there yet, but we're still talking about it, and we'd like to see that. I was at a meeting of 4-year SUNY schools this week, and basically looking at summer and winter sessions. Unfortunately, we are basically the only 4-year SUNY school that is not offering a winter session. Can you believe that?
Which is really tragic. magic.
Yeah, isn't it? And we used to have one.
Yeah.
You know, I'm told we used to do a winter session,
Yeah.
but we stopped a few years ago.
Yeah.
So, now you have to be, and the reason, that there is some reluctance for winter sessions, because winter sessions are short, by definition. They occur between the break between, Christmas, New Year's, and that kind of thing. So you're limited to 2 to 3 weeks. That's what you're limited with. And so there's always that concern that the quality of the course, the quality of the learning. And absolutely, some courses are not appropriate. Some courses would not be appropriate to try to do in that time frame. Because for a student, it's almost like full time for those 2 weeks. They're doing nothing else. And it's a large amount of time for the instructor. And there are just some things you can't learn that quickly. It takes, more time. But there are sometimes things that it's appropriate for. So we'll probably be talking about it, because it's a great, these colleges that are doing it, it's just a great revenue generator.
You have to go to the colleges that are doing it, and when faculty are they participating on load? Or are they participating for cash for the person?
Yeah, it depends. It really depends.
For a lot of folks,
It
if you're
varies.
going to do it on load, it's totally not interesting.
Right.
You don't need the cash.
That's right.
You need some time to get some research done.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely correct. And there are some that I think most are paying faculty, compensating faculty separately, the same as we do in summer. I think for the most part that's what's happening for the most part. But it's not for everybody. It's not for everybody. And you're right. Some faculty members want to use that time to do research and whatever. So that just doesn't work for everybody. But they're finding that it does work for some. And it's a limited schedule. It's a very limited schedule. Number of students and whatever. But yeah, it's been a great source of revenue for colleges and service to the students. All the time I get calls of, do you guys have a winter schedule? That short winter term. We don't do that. So there'll be more discussion about that. Hopefully we can work something out. Non-matriculated students. Okay, non-matriculated is a term that's used for students who are not enrolled in a degree program here. Okay, and some colleges refer to these as visiting students. It's becoming popular now to call them visiting students rather than non-matriculated students. Now this is something that CPE has just taken responsibility for starting this summer. Before, it was handled partly by undergraduate admissions and partly by the graduate office. And it is really different. And it's different enough, it was distracting for those departments to try to work with the non-matriculated students, because they're very unique. They need a lot of help, and those offices just really couldn't provide that attention because of everything else that they had to do. So it was moved to CPE in the summer, starting this summer, and there's been a pretty significant learning curve for us. We've never done it before. We had some training, but obviously the training didn't cover everything, and so we ran into some interesting situations. Kate Elcott is the one who does non-matriculated students, and it's becoming more and more important, and we're getting more and more requests. And it's interesting because where do the requests come from? Sometimes they come from somebody who's at another four-year school, and they can't get a course they need. And they need it this semester because they want to graduate. And maybe they didn't plan things out very well, but it's not offered at their school, and they need that course to graduate. So we get some of those folks who come. We will get other folks, especially in the summer, who have been accepted here in a graduate program for the fall, but they want to get a head start. So they want to take a course or two during the summer to kind of get a jump start on their degree. Then there are people who, for whatever reason, missed the deadline. They missed the deadline to apply to graduate school. They don't want to wait another whole semester before they start doing something, so they decide they're going to take some non-matriculated courses here. And in the fall we had something like 130 to 140 applications.
Yeah, Yeah, we also have the group that wants to massage their GPAs.
Yes, we do have those.
There's that contingent.
We do have those.
The do-over group.
So there's about 140 of those for fall who came to us. Now, not all of them registered. Some of them, they didn't have the qualifications, they didn't have the prereqs, we weren't able to accommodate them. But many we were. Many we were. And it's really a good source. Again, it's a good source of revenue from the college. We have to be very careful about the quality of student that we're getting. Now, it was interesting because I was at this meeting of the four-year schools who do summer and winter, and we talked about non-matriculated students, and one, I was kind of aghast at this, but one four-year SUNY school said, we don't check transcripts. We don't do anything for non-matriculated students. We take them at their word that they had the prerequisites and whatever. And it's like, okay, that kind of scares me. We're not gonna do that. So we see this as this is going to grow. Non-matriculated students, if we manage it well, manage it correctly, it can be great for us. And it's also another group of students who do this is folks who just want to try it out. They think they may want to come to graduate school, not really sure. So let's try one course, or we'll try two courses. They're usually working adults, saying, can I fit it in? Am I going to be able to do it? So they'll take one course or they'll take two courses and just decide. Then they'll become matriculated. So it's also potential students, potential graduate students who kind of follow this route through the non-matriculated. But they need a whole lot of attention, a whole lot of attention. I was doing this for summer and Kate did it for fall. And I'd look at some of the emails and I would have a string of 30 emails, one student. We go back and forth, back and forth. It starts out from, I want to take a course. Okay, what course would you like to take? I'm not really sure.
What do you think I should take?
Yeah, what do you recommend? It's like, no, we don't
you're
do
a
that.
waiter. Yeah.
We don't advise, we don't recommend. So just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then either they register or didn't register. But it does take a lot of attention. And I can understand why the graduate office and why admissions just couldn't put that much attention into it. Because for a few weeks prior to the semester, it's a full-time job. Mm-hmm. It's a full-time job to do this. But very important.
How many of those do we have?
What's
How
that?
many non-matrics?
500?
That
Right.
registered this fall, about 90.
90.
We had 138 applications though.
How many of
Lot of
those?
love.
How many of those students actually end up being matriculated?
We don't have records on that, but we're setting up a system so we can follow that because we want to be able to. That's a very important statistic. That's a critical statistic.
What are the usual courses that you see?
Oh, what are the big hitters?
Nursing, huge demand for nursing. And business was very popular this year, especially accountancy, masters in accountancy. A lot of our classes that are, Angel, online, very popular. And we had non-matric students from all over the state, even out of state, interested in our classes because of the convenience.
Pay out-of-state tuition.
Yes, they do.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, they do.
This is a cash cow. They're not getting financial aid.
We have one from India. One student from India.
Yeah.
Doing
These are all
online.
cash
Yeah.
customers.
Yeah. So it's
Is everything online?
No. No,
it's kind of fascinating because you still get the majority of people want online because they're not here. They may be going to Oswego, Plattsburgh, Clarkson. They're all over the place, and so they of course want it online. But you'll get some
A lot of
students.
them are taking courses they didn't make at the other institution.
For whatever reason, and I don't know the reasons for this, but for instance, you'll see clusters. For instance, Clarkson, Business Law 570. I get a number of them every semester for Business Law 570. Now, either they don't like the professor there, or I don't know what the reason is, but we get those. And other courses are like that too. We get clusters from a given college.
Oswego, we had a lot of Oswego kids.
We had a lot of Oswego kids this semester. So we get a lot of kids from different places, but some want face to face.
How many
Yeah,
SUNYIT kids do you got?
for
Kids who've gone to SUNYIT.
Oh, in the
Oh.
past?
a ton. Yeah, I can't tell you the exact
Alum?
numbers, but the alums are, yeah, it's really big. Yeah.
Or the non-alums who haven't graduated.
Well, then
It's
they
some of
would
those-
be,
We get some of those who, you know, yeah, we get some of those.
Yeah.
It was a trick question, wasn't it?
yeah.
Well, it's sort of my question, like, because, you know, what if a student leaves for a
Yes.
year or two?
Yes,
Are they still matriculated? Yeah, for 7
Yes.
years or whatever the.
yeah.
Right.
But we get some complicated, we get some complicated ones, like I had one come to my office and it's like, okay, explain again what you're trying to do here. She was matriculated here, didn't finish her degree, okay? Then she went to Utica College for a while. Now she's matriculated at MBCC, but taking a course here at SUNY IT. And it's like, do you have this all figured out? And she says, yeah, I just got a lot of varying interests. And when I'm all done, I'm going to have 2 associates and a bachelor's. And she's got it all figured out. But
It's kind of a ragtag group, I'll be honest with you. I mean, when we ask for transcripts, we get many, many, many transcripts
Quarter-inch trench.
from many, many, many places. These are rambling people, you know? They're
They don't know what they
transients.
want.
They're transients. It's an interesting group. It takes a lot of love. But
yeah,
it's revenue. It's revenue for the school.
yeah, Bill.
Where would graduate certificates fit into this or don't they? We
Uh,
have a graduate certificate in data analysis, and right now I'm teaching some students, some of whom are enrolled in this grad problem, some of whom are enrolled in this certificate, and some are not. And so the reason I'm asking, of course, is I think one of the big problems with a lot of programs like this is the advertising.
yes.
And if you're not advertising, you kind of dead in the water.
Yes.
Right? You just have to take whoever happens to wander into the
You get a lot of that.
And so obviously, my agenda
Yeah.
here in asking this
Yeah.
question is, how do we leverage you guys and advertise for us with graduate certificate data analysis and other graduate certificates?
Good question. And what we're going to institute that we don't think has been done in the past is that, you know, we now have a mail list. We have a mail list of people who applied for non-matriculated study. Some didn't register, some did register, but we now have a mail list that we can send out every semester and say, hey, you applied here once for non-matriculated, here's what we're
Here's our
doing, are you
offerings.
interested again? And that might be a good place to
Because
start.
I'm thinking also as part of corporate outreach, not just on the
Yes.
non-matriculated bulletin,
Yes.
but corporate outreach.
Yeah.
Our grad program, or the certificate is all online.
Yes.
So there's no reason we
Perfect.
couldn't be delivering this.
Yeah. Very popular.
This semester.
Yeah, I think it is a matter of awareness and a matter of outreach, and we can help with that.
Okay.
So we'd love to help with that.
Help you.
Yeah, please do, because we'd love to help with that. Yeah.
We've just been reacting up until this point, you know, to people that knock on our door. And we both feel that, you know, we can market this and really be selective and get some really qualified candidates in here and maybe keep them.
In particular, I've been getting a lot of contacts from corporate folks lately about big data. Wanting to know what we do with big data, how can we sort of help them. And so, you know, I think that they're sort of trending and catchy topics.
Yeah.
So it doesn't just have, you don't just have to think of it as like a math or expression.
Right.
It's stuff that people actually.
Something timely
Yeah.
and
They need it right
relevant.
now, they're not getting it anywhere else.
And the whole field of predictive analysis and all this too is.
Well, you know, I was going to mention this before, I'm not sure if anybody in the room, but several of us were participating in what seemed to be endless discussions on predictive analytics.
Yeah.
So, you know, trying to get a conference here during
Right.
the summer, and that kind of never went anywhere.
Right.
But it seems like it's very timely. If we don't call it predictive analytics, we call it big data or something.
Yes.
Sometimes we get
Great. Well, we'd love to work with you on that. Absolutely. And it's kind of interesting because when you talk about courses, we were talking about courses a while ago. Probably the most requested course we get is freshman level statistics.
Oh,
STA 100. We've got waiting lists. Even though we may have 5 or 6 sessions or sections of it, it's never enough. We get these waiting lists for STA 100.
What's STA 100?
Statistics
Oh,
100.
Statistics 100.
Can you believe it? I mean, they come from everywhere.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
And it's just, everybody wants that course.
We noticed what we have a second, there might be a disconnect between the math faculty and our office. If you have folks who want to do STA
Right.
elementary and they're not being served, I don't think we know that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm not sure, but yeah, we can work on that. But that just amazes me that's one of the courses that everybody wants, everybody needs. Everybody, a lot of them we talk to, they really don't want to take it. They have to take it.
Well,
So.
it's because they're seniors and they didn't fulfill their math requirement and they need statistics to graduate. I mean, these are desperate people. When you talk to them on the phone, it's not something they want to do.
So it's always interesting with the non-matrics, and we learned a lot. And we learned that it's a totally different market in summer as opposed to the academic year in terms of summer versus fall. Totally different. Summer was very straightforward. I want this course, and there's room in it. I'll take it. You got the prereqs, no problem. But in the fall, we had all these stories that people brought to us. And,
Going back, I don't want to lose this because pardon my ignorance with STA 100, after taking that course lately. Plus, I know this will be teaches it, so I'd be really worried. At any rate. Right. Okay. But there's clearly a disconnect there because it goes back to my non-matriculated question about SUNYIT students. I suspect a lot of the kids who want STA 100 are SUNYIT kids.
No,
No?
these are just purely non-matriculated, not in our programs. There seems to be about enough room for them, but we've always got just a few. Probably not enough for another section, maybe, but a few who are just kind of waiting. And we've normally been able to accommodate them because what we find is once classes start, within the first couple of days, there'll be some movement and maybe a couple spots opened up, so we can typically get them in.
You're all asleep, people in the nurses, God knows who has to take staff.
Well, we can always, as long as the economics allow, we can always open another section, an online section.
Yes.
This is what you see.
Exactly, that's what
We
we
can
do.
always open another online
Yep.
section, so please don't let anybody get away.
Oh, we try not to. Believe me, Kate will never let anybody get away. And she's really good at upselling. Hey, you want this course? Hey, how about this course? And let's take another course. Take two rather than one. She's really good at that.
We're all on the same page communicating about this. What Bill's really saying is
Yes.
when you get that kind of a question,
Absolutely.
you call somebody in math or.
And we have done that. We have done that in various areas. Or we've called professors. We've called the department, and we just said, hey, can you take another student? We got one more student I need to add. Can you add one more student? And we've done that.
Part of the problem though with our non-matrics, they have to wait until our registered students have all their classes.
Yeah.
And so we keep them on the hook for a very long time before they know whether or not they get their class. And we lose them.
One thing that's interesting that I found out at the SUNY session this week, nobody else does that. They let their non-matrics register along with everybody else. We're the only ones that make them wait all the way.
Well, maybe we should switch that.
What's that?
Private schools do that now.
Well, privates may do it, but I'm talking
In
SUNY
our
schools.
consortium, like
Yeah.
when our students try
Right.
to take courses with others.
No, I'm talking the SUNY schools.
Oh, okay.
They were amazed
Yeah.
because they just let them go.
What's the motive behind us waiting?
Not to shut out any of our students, ever. We don't want to ever shut out any of our students. That's our
The
motive.
Provost office is making that decision, because that's not a faculty decision.
Right. Yeah, well, and that's a policy
Who's
decision.
responsible for that?
It's a policy decision, as a matter of fact, we're,
Because we shouldn't let money walk away.
right, exactly. Exactly our point. We've got a meeting scheduled soon with administration, and that's one of the things, that's the biggest policy issue we want to talk about.
Provost office?
What's that?
Who does it, is Bill's question. Is it the provost office who's making that decision? Is it admissions who's making that? Where does that policy come from, is the question.
Well, we're going to find out.
We don't know.
We'll find out. But we've got an audience, and we're going to push it, and we're going to see what we can find out. Because I'm always fond of saying, we have a one-page application, non-matrics, fill out, and I hold that up and I say, this is $1,000, and every one of those is $1,000. In our book for fall, we had 130 of them in that book. It's $130,000 of potential business. And the interesting part about it is there's no real, especially the online, there's not a lot of incremental cost for adding one more student. It's negligible. So that's the great part, as long as there's room in the class, and yeah, the professor has to grade one more thing or whatever. But it's still, in the overall scope of things, it's pretty marginal. So it's kind of like free revenue.
Let's fill those seats. That's the way I look at it,
They were treated as a non-matric. So they had to go wait at the end of the line.
Yeah.
Even though they had continuous education here.
Yeah.
Can you believe that? And we had probably half a dozen of those.
So they had to wait for the crumbs.
And they were SUNY IT. And I can't explain it with logic. I mean,
Foster customer loyalty.
they come to me to discuss it, and I can't make a case. There's no rational case for it. It's just, that's the way the rules are. So those are some of the policy things we're going to be working on. So we're working on them. Okay, special initiatives and events. This is kind of like an other things that we do. The New York State College Business Plan Competition Mohawk Valley Qualifier. This is related to New York State has a college business plan competition for the whole state. We are the Mohawk Valley Qualifier. So there's 11 colleges in the Mohawk Valley region, RADC region, that feed student teams to our qualifier. And then the winners of our qualifier go to Albany and the state competition. And it's a big deal in the state competition because they've got like cash prizes, $100,000. So I mean, big deal. And last year was our first year of having a region and a qualifier, and we had 22 or 23 teams?
23.
23 teams participating, which we thought was pretty good. And I'd like to see it maybe up to 30. Because we only had 5 or 6, which number of colleges? Out of the 11. 6.
Colleges.
6 out of the 11 colleges in our region. So if we can just get to the other colleges, we can easily get 30. But this is just great. It's a great, anybody who saw the events of that day, it was just amazing to watch these student teams, pitch their business. Pitch their business. They were just absolutely wonderful. And had really good outcomes for the kids. We had one kid came from, let me get this right now, from Uniana with the auto price?
Morrisville.
Morrisville, okay. So we had a kid from Morrisville. Their team participated. The OD talked to them, interviewed him, and put his thoughts in the newspaper. He got a job. Somebody called him and gave him a job as a result of seeing his interview with the OD, as a result of coming here and pitching his business. So those are kind of the stories that you get.
Okay, I got one. This one's good. Fulton Montgomery College sent a team, and they were adorable. Oh my gosh, these guys were great, and they had a prototype of something that went on your faucet, and it measured the water and it heated the water so you could make
To give it temperature.
And it filtered. And they made a prototype. It was great. They were called the core group. And we have 2 of those students here on campus. They transferred here.
As a direct result of coming here for the business competition, seeing this campus, they transferred here. And they're finishing up their junior and senior years here.
And we took them to Albany to compete in the state. And they went to the College of Nanoscale Science and Engineering. And they were in the environmental category because it was saving water, their device. And they competed against PhD candidates. Now these are our little Fulton Montgomery 2-year associate degree kids. They came in 4th in the state. Very proud.
As you can see, Kate has a passion for this. This is one of Kate's projects. Okay. And of course, we're going to do it again this year. We hope to, as I said, have 30 teams. That would be nice to have 30 teams participate. And so we're going to, yeah. So it's a great event. Really great event. And again, a lot of these events showcase the college. That's the great thing. We have wonderful facilities here. We probably have the best campus in terms of facilities virtually in the state. It's the newest, it's the most modern and advanced. It's just wonderful. So the more people we can get onto this campus, no matter how we get them here, the better it is. It just showcases the campus, and then they'll want to come back. Our business partners want to hold events here, and it's just anything we can do. So we'll hold any events that we can hold in order to get people on this campus. SUNY Best. Okay, SUNY Best is a series of monthly or bi-monthly lectures. We do workshops. They're 2 hours on a Wednesday morning, and we get local businesses come in, variety of topics, and we try to do this every month or every 2 months at the lesson. And that's been a good program for us. And we had to get that started. This is a program started in Binghamton, in the Southern Tier, and SUNY gave us some money to replicate it here. And so we've been doing it here now for better part of a year, almost a year. And now we're going to look at SUNY talking about replicating it in Syracuse, in central New York. So it's something that, and it's a great opportunity. Free workshops on a variety of topics for basically small businesses are the ones that come to these. And it's great. It's a great opportunity, again, to get more people. Obviously, our Provost lecture series, the President's lecture series, and this little thing called CGAM Manufacturing Conference. Anybody see that happening the other day? Yeah, we started out, and this was kind of interesting because CGAM, the Center for Global Advanced Manufacturing, is a nonprofit that started in the Hudson Valley. And basically by some ex-IBM execs and whatever, they started a nonprofit to assist manufacturers. That's what they wanted to do. And they approached us very early on. And we became a founding member. And the founding member representative of the Mohawk Valley. So it's this the multi-region organization. And every year they try to have a manufacturing conference in Newburgh. And last year we had a small one here. We held it here. We had like 50 people. Okay. So this year they came to us and said, we think you can do better. We'd like to see you have 200 people. We heard that and said, 200 people? We had 50 people last year, and suddenly you want us to have 200 people? That's kind of ridiculous. Okay. So we got talking about it, and this is another project that belonged to Kate. Kate gets a lot of these projects. So this was her project. And explain, if you will, Kate, the difference between the focus that Newburgh took and we took.
Oh boy. Okay, so Newburgh really wanted to have a group of manufacturers come and sit around and talk about how hard it is to be a manufacturer in New York State. And we took a different tact. We thought, because of the projects we have going here, we thought to take a more workforce development tact and open it up to schools and showcase to students what the new manufacturing looks like and what kind of jobs, what kind of opportunities are available to our kids in the Mohawk Valley, and to pique their interest and get them excited and get them inspired. And so that back to that STEM hub, went out to the STEM hub and said, yoo-hoo, we have an idea, science, technology, engineering, math. They brought busloads of kids, busloads, and our colleges brought lots of kids. We had people from BOCES, we had 52 educators come to watch. We had over 370.
There was. We had 150 manufacturers also that came.
So it was a nice group of students and educators and manufacturers all in the same room talking about, what their needs are, what they're looking for, and merging the two together. So we ended up with I think, a pretty good conference when it was all said and done.
Yeah, it's somewhere around 350 people. Okay. Well, which is pretty funny because we first started out and said, we'll take the student center multi-purpose room, and if we get 100 people, we'll be pretty happy. And then we said, maybe let's go a little bigger, we'll take the auditorium. And matter of fact, we stole the auditorium from Ann and her group. We'll take the auditorium.
Sorry.
And then we said, now we've got a different problem, because if we only get 100 people in the auditorium, it's going to look awfully empty. So we took a risk and said, well, we'll take the auditorium, and we were really afraid we weren't going to be able to fill it. And then suddenly, with this focus that Kate had with students and whatever, we just saw the numbers just mushroom. And so not only did we realize with like a week to go that we're going to fill the auditorium, so we were using Kinsella Cafe as an overflow. And then 3 days or 2 days before the conference, we said, we're going to fill that. So let's take the Welcome Center. And admissions gave us the Welcome Center, so we're very happy with that. And we basically filled that. So, and we were broadcast. We had the broadcast from the auditorium to the Welcome Center and to the Kinsella Cafe. And it worked out really well. So it was really funny, because the Newburgh people, when they first started out, they said, we're going to get 400 to our conference, and we want you guys to get 200. Well, they had the numbers about right, except they were flipped. We ended up with nearly 400, and they ended up with less than 200. So we're pretty happy about that. Yeah.
We also had an expo, and we had 13 exhibitors out in the lobby of Kinsella, and the exhibitors gave me great feedback. They said the kids asked so many questions, because the exhibitors had to have an interactive expo. They had to have something that the kids could touch. They had to have, something that they could really, see and experience. And so they brought their technology, and the exhibitors had a ball. They just had a ball. Like I said, the kids were so inquisitive, and that was the point, get them interested.
So next year we'll be looking at the field house, I guess.
Yep.
Yep.
So
What's the business model on something like this? Do you charge participants as they come in, or are you viewing this as marketing?
this is
SUNY's piece of
yes.
this?
This is sponsored by CGAM and SUNYIT, and we've gotten some other small sponsors also. But the idea is that it is free. It is free to all participants. We don't want to charge anybody. We don't want anybody not to make a decision not to come based on cost.
Yeah.
So we don't want to do that. So
we want people thinking about SUNYIT and manufacturing in the same.
that's right.
Absolutely.
Synonymous. We want that to be synonymous. And we're trying to, CGAM and SUNYIT, we want people to naturally, in the Mohawk Valley, think about those two things as being kind of equal.
Is that, did you basically this is a question that was from Mason, the mechanical engineering faculty?
Well, I'm surprised you've not mentioned it at all, because I know Mark knows. And so, we have there's a lot of other stuff going on the CGAM that you've not mentioned.
Of course.
Directly
Of
involved
course.
SUNYIT.
Of course.
Well, that was presented at the conference on Friday, the whole CGM.
Spent a lot of time talking about CGAM at the conference.
And the characterization labs.
Yeah. And our
Who did that presentation?
Builder.
builder.
Bill did it.
Yeah, we had slides in our program. We listed all the characterization labs throughout the state and what CGAM's about and how it started. And
All of that.
it
Did
was
he
all.
tell you anything about the academic programs that were developed around that?
Yes, that was all listed.
Yeah. And it's kind of interesting because this association with CGAM has been a great association because first started out, there was no money. Okay, CGAM had no money at all. And they found some money someplace and to start one characterization lab in the Newburgh area. And then we applied for 2020 challenge grant, and we got it for CGAM. So $15 million for CGAM. And we invested about $4 million of that with 9 SUNY community college partners to put different laboratories in different community colleges, depending on the expertise of the community college. And the whole idea is we're going to have this network in the Mohawk Valley, Hudson Valley. We've got this network at each community college. They've got a laboratory that manufacturers can use. So manufacturers can come in, use the equipment, in some cases take equipment out and use it, but it just resources to manufacturers because the whole idea is that there's a lot of small manufacturers that can't afford some very expensive equipment. And by having this equipment available to the manufacturers, it's providing a great service. You're going to be hearing a lot about CGAM. You'll hear a lot about it in the future, and it's going to be great. And the folks who are running CGAM, and this is a thing that we have some capital money now with the 2020 grant. We have no operating money. So people are donating their time to run CGAM at the moment. There is nobody being paid as an employee of CGAM. And then
there's some really big issues there.
yeah, so we've got to get some operating money. So that's our next challenge, is to find somebody who will fund us with some operating funds. But it's going to be great. And we want to move this across the state. Right now it's just 2 regions. Well, there's 8 more regions.
Let's try to get this running first, hey, Mark?
Well, maybe. You know the Vinny. It's kind of hard to hold him back.
Oh, I know Vinny quite well, but
Mark, can you say the acronym stands for again? CGAM?
Center for Global Advanced Manufacturing. Another thing we do is academic support, meaning sometimes we get requests from academic departments and they want to run a non-credit workshop, or just something that a faculty member has an interest in and they want to try out. And will this concept sell? And so we do some of those things. An example right now is we're working on a short workshop on medical transcription in Spanish. And we're working on that one right now. Again, just an idea a faculty member had. Hey, I got this great idea. I think there's a market for it out there in the marketplace. And what's really good is we can do things very quickly. Because because we're not credit, we don't have to worry about any kind of approvals for stuff and whatever. So we can just throw something out pretty quickly. And if it flies, it flies. We throw it out there, and the people sign up for it, and it flies. We run the program. If it doesn't fly, we don't run the program. Like we tried to do Chinese. We tried to do a Chinese course on a non-credit basis. It didn't work. Didn't go. We just had to say we just not economically feasible. And it didn't happen, but that's okay. So we put a little bit of effort into things, throw it out in the marketplace, see what the interest is. If there's interest, we run it. If there isn't interest, we don't run it. But we won't try anything. Okay. The culture, I want to talk a little bit about the culture in CPE, because it's a very, very unique culture. And again, this is a tribute to Deb. She's the one who created this culture. She headed up. She's headed up CPE for 17 years now, and this is really her culture. And one of the things is a very entrepreneurial spirit. Okay, of the 17 folks that we have working in CPE, 15 of them rely on external funding. We have to find funding, grant money or whatever. So it isn't like we've got this huge group of people that the college is paying. Not like that. Okay, 15 out of 17, basically we have to find funding. So that's kind of interesting. We like to say in CPE, we find ways to say yes. No matter what the subject is, we try to say yes. As a matter of fact, I was kind of kidding with Kate for this manufacturing conference that blew up, and I said, Kate, don't you know how to say no? And she says, no, I don't know how to say no. So I think it's something unique about CPE. We try to figure it out. We try to make it happen. Okay? And really, it's a very unusual culture, too. Because everybody, the camaraderie that we got in that organization is very unique. I've seen a lot of organizations throughout my career, and I haven't seen many that operate that way. And no matter what the event is, and again, we've got 6 different organizations, 6 different programs. But anytime any one of those programs needs help, any one of those programs is having an event or whatever, we don't even have to ask. It's just an assumption that everybody will come and everybody will help. We had no problem staffing the manufacturing conference last week. Had no problem at all. And it's just because that's the way we do things. And again, this is all tribute to Deb and the culture that she has created. And I find it's very unique, not just in CPE cultures that I'm aware of, other places, but in just in organizations. I find it's a very unique situation. Okay. The nature of CPE. I'll talk a little bit now. We talked about the program, so I'll give you a little bit of flavor what the linkages are, because it just seems like, man, this stuff is all over the place. You got a program that does this, a program that does this, a program that does this. What's the rationale? Why do you have all these programs and these specific programs? Well, the reason is, this wasn't just by happenstance. We just didn't say, well, let's add this program, let's add this program, let's add this program. But Deb was looking for programs that were specifically designed to, in my mind, I make it pretty simple, that one of three things. Everything in CPE does one of three things. Okay, we're either increasing enrollment, short or long term. If you look at our programs that do that, K-12 is increasing enrollment long term. Some are more short term. Increasing revenue, non-matrics. Some are increasing revenue, short term, long term. And then everything else is increasing SUNY IT's exposure, visibility, and reputation. Okay. Having people on campus, having those 500 seniors on campus. Very influential people in the community who just happen to have grandchildren, who happen to maybe want to come to SUNY IT. So it all connects together. So it just seems like there's a lot of diverse stuff going on, but it really all connects very well together. And again, this is a tribute to Deb's vision. Okay.
Marv, can we ask a question?
Absolutely.
Has anyone in Deb's tenure ever in the organization come to her and been declined to be part of CPE? Do you know?
I don't know. Fran, do you? I mean,
Not that I recall. Is the entrepreneurial spirit.
yeah. We'll try to make it happen. If we can make it happen, we can make it happen. Fran is our historian.
No.
Well, she's actually the
Making
college
me feel
historian. She's actually the college historian because young Fran here is what, 35 years?
36.
Oh, 36 years at the college. Threatening to retire? We don't take that very seriously. She's threatening to retire. Okay. We also like to look at how things connect to SUNY and how things connect directly to SUNY IT. We talked about generally how things connect, but specifically. For instance, SUNY's got these big ideas, SUNY big ideas. Okay, and SUNY on the entrepreneurial centric. And I'm not going to read this stuff to you, but this is all just stuff of how things we do in CPE supports that SUNY goal. Okay, and if anybody wants the slides or whatever, I can get them, because I'm probably not going to give you time to read all these, but SUNY and the seamless education pipeline. Well, that's obvious. The K-12 stuff is, head of the list here. The other stuff that we do also is just to support the education pipeline. And a very interesting thing is happening now, and maybe you've heard some of it, maybe you haven't. This thing called Open SUNY. The idea of Open SUNY is that anybody can take a course anywhere in the SUNY system and get a degree by taking a course here, taking a course there, whatever. But you can go to any place in the SUNY system. Of course, there's rules and there's policies and whatever. But this is moving very rapidly. This idea of this Open SUNY is moving extremely rapidly. That's going to really change the way things operate.
If somebody engages in that, where do they graduate from?
Good question. Well, it still has to have a home or a home college, right? Because the SUNY system can't grant degrees. So that's one of the questions.
Well, there's some fundamental issues in there.
Yeah.
And I would say the fundamental issues is that it will be interesting to answer essentially the question, who's responsible for the quality of the education that the student receives? Because as it is, the structure of the community colleges and the requirement that all of the SUNY 4-year campuses accept 1/2 of their credits for graduation without any quality control, but 4-year colleges are accepting, it means that 50% of your product is delivered to you potentially, or in our case, more than 50%, because it is not under our control. So I just ask you, what's the probability if you're running a company where 1/2 of your feedstock coming in does not necessarily meet your quality control constraints, and you have to accept it and produce a product. And it's leading to, from my perspective, major issues of the 4-year campuses.
Yeah.
Major issues. It just, every time I see that, every school I've ever been at accepts community college transfers. They take the credits that they come in, but they don't necessarily accept all the credits toward the degree.
Okay.
And it's quality. So at the end of the day, the faculty are responsible for that, the quality of those graduates. And it's a really serious problem. No for-profit company would ever accept that constraint, ever. It's a fundamental violation of the quality principles.
So this idea, Open SUNY, it's kicking off next year. And they've had campuses that have what they call nominated degree programs to be part of it. And they've got they're only going to take a few next year, like 3 degree programs. They've got like 30 nominated so far, and they're going to take 3 and make them part of Open SUNY, and then that's going to go. There's been 1 nominated from SUNY.
Which program?
Russell Kahn, IDT. Yep. Don't know if it'll make the cut because they're cutting from 30 down to 3. So.
I lose, if there's anything I lose sleep over, it's that.
Yeah. Definitely some challenges, no doubt about it. Okay, so SUNY and the Seamless Education Pipeline, SUNY and Energy Smart New York, SUNY and the Vibrant Community. We do lots of vibrant community stuff. All of our programs pretty much are vibrant community stuff. Okay, so those are some ways that in our programs and our activities support SUNY. And then of course SUNY IT. And supporting the strategic plan at SUNY IT, the financial self-sufficiency, which is part of the plan, and some of the things that we're going to do there to try to help that, and summer session, possibly winter session, non-matriculated students, those kind of things. Strengthening undergraduate programs, and there's too much here to read, but again, you can have the slides if you want the slides. I just copied and pasted from someplace else. So, but again, all things that that we do that. Promote the transformative experience for SUNY IT students. There's always somebody from CPE that's doing first-year seminar. We've got mentoring, instructional experiences going on with middle and high school students. Strengthening the graduate recruitment, education, research. We have a National Science Foundation mentoring grant that Elizabeth Rossi is working with. And of course, we haven't mentioned it, but within our walls of CPE, we also have sponsored research. Promote excellence in teaching and research. Again, some ways we're linked in CPE to that. Develop facilities, strengthen instructional resources. I don't know if anybody has gone to our relatively new robotics laboratory, G155, in the bottom of Donovan. But it's a great, and it's a resource never really had a good space for robotics. So last year, Bill Durgan made sure that we had great space for robotics. So it's a wonderful space to work with the robotic stuff. If you haven't ever checked that out, check it out sometime. It's locked a lot of the time, but when we're having events or whatever, it's open. And then, of course, engage in civic, cultural, and global responsibilities. And this is pretty much everything we do has a linkage to that. So the question is, what is the future of CPE? Well, I hope somebody can answer that, because I can't. Because I've only been here 2 years. But in the 2 years that I have been here, CGAM is absolutely new. That wasn't even anybody thinking along those lines. The non-matriculated students, We had no idea at that point, before last summer, that we were going to be doing non-matriculated students. So I can't predict. I have no way of predicting. As I said, whatever somebody asks us to do, we're probably going to try to do. If we can possibly staff it and fund it and whatever, we're going to probably redo it. And we'll continuously we'll get requests from the president's office, the provost's office to do some things. Like, for instance, wanted to have a safety and security conference a year ago in May. We got involved in that.